Good evening and welcome to the Simply Colorful FiberCast. Today's date is October 16th, 2015. My name is Lynn and I'm your host. Thanks for joining. You won't believe what just happened. I was sitting here planning away, looking at 2016, and I looked down and it was 8:03, so I'm sorry I'm late. How is everyone? I hope you're all well. I'm so glad to see you live. I know this has made me get back into the swing of things. I've been traveling. And I have a lot to share with you, a lot of stories. So grab a project. It's amazing what we can get done together in 60 minutes. This is all about sewing together and keeping each other company. I've already seen many texts and emails that I want to share with you and show you what each other is working on. And today I have some updates. We're also going to focus on doll hair, a couple of different types. And we're going to end off with, if we have time, starting a bigger Tilda doll. But I don't anticipate we'll have time because the doll head that I'm making, I think may consume at least the last half of the show. So, welcome. Couple of updates, a couple of programming updates before we get crafting or sewing or playing with fiber. Whatever you want to do, you can do anything. This show is all about quilting, whatever you want to do. Did you know it's 2 weeks before Halloween? 2 weeks tomorrow is Halloween. And in the last 2 weeks, I've been to 4 places. And in the next 2 weeks, between now and Halloween, I'll be in 4 states. I'll be in Illinois, Virginia, California, and then back to Indiana. So the next 2 weeks after tonight's live show are going to be pre-recorded. But know that I will be here with you. I will pre-record probably tomorrow for next week, and then when I come back next Saturday, I'll pre-record for the following week, I think. So bear with me. Keep on working on your projects because here's the second public announcement. After that, when we get into November, there are only 4 Fridays in November and 4 Fridays in December. 8 weeks. After 8 weeks till Christmas. So we only have 8 weeks in November and December. So I was looking at the calendar and thinking, and I will be back. I won't be doing a lot of traveling, so we're going to have full-on live shows, including, if all goes as planned, Christmas and New Year's Eve. So get your party hats ready for that, and it's going to be fun. So I love fiber. I love that you're out there being a FiberCaster. Thanks for joining, and let me get started. I have so many things to show you and tell you about. First off, I thought I'd go doll by doll, and some of the dolls I just have to fix some hair, and other dolls I have to completely start from scratch. The first one here is, you all probably remember her, my Bridget doll, and she has mohair. Oh, what does she have? Maybe that's merino wool hair. And you'll see on the back I did a little twist, but it's coming out. So I wanted to show you how I use my felting forks. And my mother turned me on to these a while back. I have 3 fine and 3 coarse. And I think they're different widths. And the key with these felting forks, or needles, I mean, is that they have little burrs on them. And when you go in and out, and they're very sharp, and I am by no means an expert felter, but basically by going in and out, the little burrs on the needle are picking up the wool and pulling them in, and then they get stuck, and they don't pull out. It's really quite remarkable how it works. And it's really quite remarkable what some people have done with this technique to make full dolls. There's a woman in our doll class that she can get the most minute little things by doing it this way. So things, that wasn't very descriptive. She can make very detailed dolls with just felt and these needles. And she probably has a nice pad that she felts onto rather than me putting my fingers near where I'm felting. But I just wanted to show you, and you can hear it. It's kind of a cool sound. Here, I'll be quiet. Maybe you can hear it. Can you hear that? Anyway, by doing that, her back tail is stuck in there. Now, similarly, see the front? See how her bang goes over her eye there? I thought I wanted to... Oh, someone's there. I just thought I wanted to fix that up a little bit. And make her look more wide awake. So, that is one way to do hair. And I don't love the merino, but you know what? She needs just finished embroidery, so I'm not going to worry about her hair anymore. I need to finish the rest of her. But I wanted to show you what that was like when you used the felting tools. I'm glad I have these. I do use them more than you might think. It's a tool that I held off getting for a long time, and then my mother mentioned them, I think last year or the year before. Of course, I had to go out and get some, and I'm glad I have them. Let's see. I heard a ding. Let's get right into that. Who was that? Oh, hi, Karen. Karen says, oh, that poor doll. She's going to have a splitting headache. Oh, I miss you. I wish you were right here beside me, KB. That's very funny. That's the good thing about dolls. They don't seem to get headaches. Let's see. Who's out there? Jean. Hi, Jean. Oh, my goodness, you've been busy. Oh, Jean has been working on the 300th quilt. Look at this art quilt. Now, it's going to be very difficult to see, but in the middle, that yellow is the map of Hopkinton. And then it looks like from 1715 to 2015, Hopkinton, Massachusetts, and it looks like there's going to be a topographic map. Oh, we can't wait to see how this turns out. I think I remember seeing a blueprint of this months ago, and it was stunning, so keep us posted on that. The other thing, Jean also said, she says, this is very good. She says, she's making little zip bag out of candy wrappers. A zip bag out of candy wrappers. And she sent me a picture, and she also sent me steps. Oh, the first step. She says the important first step was eating the candy. Oh my goodness. Look at that. That's fabulous. That's a zippered pouch. 2.5 inches by 5 inches. Jean, how do you keep it together? It looks like it's quilted. A nice white zipper on the top. Wow, that's a trend. Who's going to make those? And so perfect for Halloween. So perfect for Halloween. Mint M&Ms. You like those mint M&Ms. I like peanut butter, I think. Although I like any kind. Have you ever been to the M&M stores where they just have the floors, literally floors of different M&Ms? I love that. So send me your texts. Send me your emails to lmarquidant@gmail.com. And I know I say this, and I've been saying it for almost 2 years now. I know it's hard to spell. It's L for my first name, Lynn, and then it's Marquidant, M-A-R-Q-U-E-D as in David, A-N-T as in Tom. And it's occurring to me, not only did I not start on time, but I don't even think I checked the lights around here. So I apologize if I am, if there are shadows. Anywho, you'll see I changed the quilt behind me. I put up our spider quilt. Thought that was appropriate for Halloween. I can't wait for Halloween. I already have my costume set. Okay, so before I go any further, let's keep going. Oh, but before I do that, So we were out in West Virginia for a football game. Oh, and I have stories to tell you. And one of the things, of course, when you'd go football gaming, there is lots of tailgating and parties beforehand. And one of the things, not that we needed it, the weather was beautiful in Morgantown, but in my nephew's trunk, in case it got cold, he had this. And I thought it was so creative, I brought it home so I could make a copy. Isn't that amazing? And I know it's really hard to see because it's black, but it's basically a mitten into which you put your soda, and inside you hold the can. So I thought, Sarah, if you're out there, that might be something that would be fun to make. We could even maybe make it out of fleece to save time, but I just thought that was so fun. And maybe everyone else has seen it before, but wouldn't that be fun? I was thinking of doing Patriots ones for around the fire pit when you're outside. Who's there? Oh my goodness, Kelsey! Kelsey is out there. Hello, Kels. I am so sorry I missed your quilt show. I heard it was fantastic, or your trunk show. Anywho, I'm so glad you're out there. Let us know what you're working on. She says she's watching tonight while binding her Downton Abbey quilt. Oh, that's excellent. Downton starts soon, doesn't it? The final season. I can't wait. I'm going to savor every minute of it. Oh, I'm so glad you're out there. Everyone keeps saying that that trunk show was fabulous, and I bet it was. I did not know. I loved reading the newsletter, and I didn't know the history and how long you had when you started quilting, and how when it was when your kids were young, and it gave you a good reprieve and a good excuse to get out, and all good. Anyway, let's go to our second doll. So I showed you this, the mitten. This doll, I don't have to do anything to, but I wanted to show everyone. It came from Bobby's house. Bobby Athern, I think is her last name. She was a textile tart. She recently passed away, but she was very influential in the doll making community and out in Northborough and in the senior center. And this was one of the dolls from her collection, and I love it. And her hair is actually painted. So I wanted to show you that that's another way, of course, that you can handle hair for dolls. And it works. She's very primitive, but I like her face a lot. And that's another doll. But now those are the easy ones. Now let's do Tilda. I have a plan, and I don't think she'll take too long, and then I'm going to get to the head that we made 2 weeks ago. Remember, I went over to to the Textile Tarts. We had a meeting, and Al taught us how to paint faces. Well, I'm going to show you what I painted, and we're going to put hair on that doll. Oh, I'm having a hard time with my words. Anyway, this is the Tilda doll that we made last week, and she is coming along. She has she's dressed. She has 2 little skirts, and I put some lace on them, which was fun. And I did have to use a magic marker on her feet a little bit to make sure none of the stitches showed. And I'm liking her. I think that I am going to make her an ornament for a tree. So once I get all of the hair done, then I will pull a string up through her head and we'll hang her on the tree. I was even thinking, I don't know, I might put a vest on her, or I might put an apron. And then I was thinking if I had her holding a small present, a little square present that's wrapped in little teeny tiny wrapping, that might be pretty for the tree. And it might stand out. So that's what I'm thinking. She's Tilda. She doesn't get much of a face. She'll get 2 eyes when we're done. But now she needs some hair. So I've started using pearl cotton to create some hair. And that's as far as I've gotten. So here's how I've been doing it. Oh, remember this? I pulled this out because this holds all of my specialty needles. made this a long time ago, you know that? Okay. And I know this color hair isn't quite conventional. It's kind of bluey, greeny, grayy, but I really like it against this yellow, so I'm going with it. So here's what I've been doing. Basically, if you saw Tilda, if you looked up anything online about Tilda dolls, a lot of them have just a very simple hair, looks like long hair that's pulled on either side and then wrapped around for two little, like Princess Leia buns. And I'm thinking that's what we're going to do here. And the way I'm doing it is I'm literally pulling that right through her head, creating I think I'll get this down in a rhythm and it'll be easy. Famous last words, I know. So I'm pulling it taut on one side and then leaving it down on the other. This will all make sense. It will all come together, I promise. It's making her head awfully hard, though. Okay. And she has such a small head that she does not need a whole bunch of hair. Okay, so there we have a little more coming out. Karen, now I'm going to think about the doll headaches. Hey, it was a big day in our family. We had things delivered. If my mother's out there, hopefully she's watching on her new iPad. How many of people out there have been having trouble with their iPads and that darn operating system? I have talked to more people, including my boss, who I was traveling with this past week. Her phone completely gave out, and she had to go get a new one at the store. Crazy. Anyway, so let me tell you a little bit more about our trip. The West Virginia game we did lose to Oklahoma State, but it was really an exciting game. And we all wore gold, and we had 3 brothers there. And guess what? We met the president of the college. In fact, I probably have a picture. The president of the college, Gordon Gee, G-E-E, like Gee's Bend. I don't know. I have not checked out to see if he's connected with Gee's Bend at all, but he has been in a lot of different places in academia, including Harvard, around the country, and he's now president of West Virginia, which has 38,000 students right now, and their aim is to grow to 50,000 apparently over several years, and he's quite visible. And one of the things he does is on Friday nights he goes out to the bars and says hello to the kids. So there we were, 50 some odd plus year old kids with our nephew, at the bar on Friday night after we watched a parade that was great. It had so many marching bands. It was awesome. Right down through Morgantown. And all of the elected officials and every organization you can imagine was all coming through town. It was great fun. And then we went to a local bar to have nachos and beer. And don't you know, Gordon Gee comes in, and of course we didn't see him, but next thing we know, our nephew Drew is coming up with this gentleman who says hello and ends up spending a lot of time with us. Here he is. He's in the middle with the bow tie. My nephew is Drew, and then that's my father-in-law talking to him, and his father in the back. So there's the president of West Virginia University with 3 generations of Marquardons. And here is everyone in a West Virginia coal mining town bar, and we were having a ball. And the best part about this, in addition to the story and the fact that that's the president, and he wanted to know about Drew, and Drew had just made Dean's List, so that was very exciting. The best part about this is I'm not in the picture. Anywho, so that's my West Virginia story. Then on Sunday, I'm going to keep going so that I can get to my other doll hair. Then on Sunday, Bob and his father drove me up to Pittsburgh and dropped me off at the airport, and I flew out to Salt Lake City. And the weather out there was beautiful. It was hotter than normal, so it was literally in the 70s and sunny, and we were at the Grand American Hotel, which is very opulent, and my story for that one was midway through the show, I think it must have been, oh boy, Wednesday? I came down in the morning, and I came into the big grand front entrance of this hotel. I mean, they're marble, they're tapestries, oil paintings, all real. And there are all sorts of young couples dressed beautifully in long evening gowns, and they're drinking. They have glasses. And I walk in and I think, and it's 7:30. And I wonder what is going on. Well, it was very exciting. They were filming for the new show called Blood and Oil with Don Johnson and Chance, is it Crawford? Lawford? I don't even know who it is. I have to look that up. But they were filming one of the new episodes. They're only on the 3rd episode is airing. And they filmed in the lobby. They filmed in the courtyard of the Grand. It's called the Grand American Hotel. And for any of you who've been out there, you know it is quite the hotel. I'm almost done here. So that was really fun. I did not see Don Johnson. I tried to gawk for a little while, but then my oatmeal was coming. I had the most delicious oatmeal every day when I was out there. Little brown sugar and some raisins. That got me through the conference. And aside from that, let's see, the governor of Utah spoke. That was good. And it was really, it's one of the better conferences I go to because it's inspiring what the people from every state are doing with their own computer systems. They're making a lot of great progress on behalf of, for all of us, whether it's permitting online or renewing our licenses online. Think of what we can do now even that we couldn't do 10 years ago, and they're just touching the surface. So anyway, it was really good, and I came home late Wednesday night, so I've been home for 2 days, and I've been digging out, and I'm almost done with the doll hair. Doesn't she look crazy? Now I think this is going to work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to crisscross on the back of her head the pearl cotton. And then you're going to see I'm going to put a piece of wire through her head, just straight through. And then I'm going to twist the hair on the wire and then twist the wire up, and it should stick. And maybe someday I'll learn another trick, but I thought I've done this trick once before. I know how to do it. Famous last words. Her head's getting really full with pearl cotton. So I'll finish her hair, and then I'll check to see who's out there. I love to get your emails, everyone. Oh, and I had someone contact me this week. Oh, and I'm going to forget what it's called, but it's basically they have a new patent pending product to wind the binding. Have you seen that? Binding winder. And they sent me a video, a YouTube video, and it was cute. They did it with their dog, and it looked like it might have some applicability. My jury's out because I don't mind having the binding on the floor myself. As you know, I'm not all that fastidious. But it did look cool, actually. It's a way you're at your ironing board, and as you're ironing your binding, then you wind it onto this very plastic. There's no electricity, which I like. No nothing. So you could literally take it with you in the camper. You could take it on road trips. You don't need a plug. And then you wind up the binding as you iron it, and then you bring it over to your machine, and it just stands right there, and all the binding's wound up, and you put it over here, and then you just run through your quilt. And okay, one more. And it doesn't get on the floor, but again, hopefully the floor in our sewing rooms isn't too dirty. Although I should not speak. My dog had a field day when we were gone. For the last couple of years, as everyone knows, my dog Allie, our dog, Bob's and my dog Allie, is getting old. And she's a love, and she's really, really going deaf. But anyway, the last couple of years we've been taking her with us when we go places. And when we go to visit my mother, we can take her with us now. We stay in the garage, and it just works great. Well, we, of course, couldn't take her to West Virginia with us. So our neighbor Bridget kindly took care of her, and she's a godsend because Allie is really, really old and stubborn and marches to the beat of her own drum. She's not all that well behaved. So anyway, Bridget took care of her. Well, downstairs we're also working on the trim, and so all of our pantry and our food is out in our dining room. You should see downstairs. You don't want to see downstairs. It's a construction zone still. So when we left a whole big canister of cans, a bucket of cans on the floor. Cans. Well, Allie got into a 4-pack of tuna fish, and she actually crushed every can and ate every bit of tuna fish. Bridget sent me a text, and fortunately she said there was no blood. Oh, and I think I deleted it, so I can't show you the cans. Allie did have to go to the bathroom with all that tuna. So that was our little girl. That's what she did. She had an exciting time while we were away. Okay, I'm just doing one more at the top, and then we'll get to putting this together. I hope it works. will. And create a little V, like her hair going like that. In another lifetime, it might be fun to do stump work. Has anyone out there done that? Oh, you have? Who's there? Sarah. Oh, speaking of dogs, Sarah says, did Allie have tea with her tuna? Oh, that's right. The tea was gone. So Sarah's referring to either last weekend or the weekend before, just before I was ready to go to my Textile Tarts meeting. I bring the tea and the coffee for this year, or for whatever. I don't even know what it's called, but I love doing it. And I had packed up my tea and my coffee and my condiments, or, you know, Allie got into it just before I left, and tea all over the front door. She liked the sugar in the tea because some of the tea was herbal with some flavoring. So yes, Sarah, now you have an opportunity not to create a monster like we have, and we're dying to hear how Dexter is. Oh. Okay, now I'm getting this too full, so I have to just ease back. And I probably am going to have to end up gluing a little bit of that pearl cotton over. But for now, what I want to do is create a hole for a wire. And then I really will get to your emails and get to the other doll, which is going to be really fun to do. I can't wait. It involves Mod Podge. She's going to have plenty of hair. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay. Now I want to create a hole for the wire. Nope. Okay, so I'm going to thread the wire and pull it through. And if this doesn't make her head explode, nothing will. Oh, I need it bigger. That was the problem. I'll even use one of these big, long doll needles, which actually is great. It'll give me more leverage. Okay, hang on. Ah, yay! We did it. Okay, now she's got a headache. Take off that big needle. And now I want to show you where we're at, and then hopefully do a couple of final things, and she will have hair. Okay. So we literally have hair on either side, and we have that piece of wire. You see that? On the back. Now what I'm going to do is on the back, I'm going to literally take each strand of hair and I'm going to cross it over. Probably 2 at a time. So that will go over there. That will go over there. That will go over there. Oh, it's kind of like braiding. It may not be the look I want on the back, but we're going for it. Yeah, it's going to work fine. Famous last words, right? Kelsey, did I see in your bio there that you used to make doll clothes years ago when you were in Maine? Or am I misremembering that? I would love to see you do a doll. I'd love to see everyone do a doll, all of my quilting friends. But that doesn't mean we don't have quilts to make, because that was the other update. Well, let me finish this and then I'll share that update. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that yet. It's probably very hard. This is where we need a little up-close camera. Basically, now it's time to straighten out the fibers and pull them taut on one side. And then wrap the wire around. Okay. Now we'll do the other. Straighten them out and pull them taut. And then remember which way the wire goes. All right. Poor little girl's going to need a little touch up here on her front, but now what we need to do is keep twisting this around. And again, I'll probably use a little glue when all is said and done. Okay. Now I'm doing the other side. She's like Pippi Longstocking. And I really don't want the side of her to be that big. So I'm going to stop there, and I'm literally going to cut this right off. So everyone take a deep breath. Woohoo! We're getting there. And now, if we do this right, problem is I'm seeing a lot more wire than I want to be seeing, but we'll figure that out. Actually, it looks like barrettes, so it's fine. That's an example of being able to rationalize anything. It's a good human trait, otherwise it would be hard to deal with all the change that goes on in our lives. Oh! I will see who's there. And believe it or not, Tilda's hair is done. It's not fancy, but it's kind of true to the Tilda style. And the only thing I need to do is maybe add a little bit more, maybe some bangs up there. So anyway, that's another example of hair. Now, I'll put her right there. And before we go any further, I want to check email and make sure I say hi to everyone. And then we need to get to this girl. Okay, so who's out there? Oh, thanks, Sarah. After she asked about the tea, she said my Tilda's looking great. Thanks. Come on. Seriously, Sarah, please feel free to share your dog pictures if you want, or I can tell people where to go find you. Who is out there? Oh, yay, you're out there. Oh, Linda Griffin, hello, welcome. Oh, we have some new subscribers. Mary Beth, welcome. Elizabeth Allen says, hello, Lynn. I'm working on, hi, Elizabeth. Thanks for joining. She says, I'm working on applique pumpkins for a little wall hanging for Halloween. Ooh, that's great. I can't wait to see it. Oh, we do get to see it. She says, I love all you do on FiberCast. Keep the good times rolling. Thanks, I will. Have to say, I really want to do a Halloween Tilda doll. Now, thanks to you. I would love to see a Halloween Tilda doll. I think that's a great idea. The things you could do with it. She says, thanks, Beth from Quilt Time in South Carolina. Oh, look at this. You're doing lots of pumpkins. Oh, you'll have to keep us posted on what that. Thanks for sharing. Grace. Hi, Grace. Oh, my goodness. Grace says, I just wanted you to know I got my farmer's wife quilt done and quilted, she says. I love how it turned out. And she says, from cold, cold, warm under the quilt, Ohio. Ooh. Okay, I'm downloading. Oh, my goodness. That is stunning. Nope, now they just went back to, that's weird. The image is gone. Did this happen before? This is so weird. Now it's not letting me download. Grace, that is beautiful. Thank you for sharing, and I'm going to go read another one and see if I can come back and download that picture. For everyone else, it's blues and beiges of the farmer's wife, and as you know, anyone who knows the farmer's wife pattern, it's like a Dear Jane, just of a different color. Oh, Joni, she says, I almost forgot you tonight. I'm glad you didn't. She said, I'm so glad I remembered you. Love football, she says, and tailgating. So do I. I don't think I can do it every week, but it's fun. Oh, my goodness, she says, I've been out when it's been 23 below zero. Oh, then you definitely can use these. I think the coldest game I ever went to was with my mother and my mother-in-law. Bob bought us tickets, or a friend sold him tickets, and we were right in the first row on one of the corners at a Patriots game, and it was freezing. And I was so worried about running out of gas the whole night. And I didn't have one of these. We could have used those. But it was fun. Thanks for joining, Joni. And Sandra! Oh, good, I want a weather report. She says she made progress this week. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. I hope you're feeling well. She says, hi, Lynn. What I want to do tonight is just watch you. Oh, well, I'm glad you're here. She says, I've been busy this week and made all of the following. She made a name tag for a friend of hers in a quilt guild. That's very kind of you. We have to make our own in our quilt guild. You could join our quilt guild. I need a new tag. She says she also made 3 Farmer's Wife 1930s quilt-along QAL. She also made a Dear Jane block, and she says she loves the dolls, and oh, she finished a charity quilt also, and she says she's tired. Well, it's no wonder. You must be. Great to see you. Have a great week. Sandra in Cooler, Mississippi. Oh, look at the name tag. Oh, love it. My grandmother's name was Alice. One of my grandmothers. That's beautiful, Sandra. I'm so glad you're back at it. And keep resting. Hi, Maggie. Maggie says hello, and she says loves listening to your stories of your travels. Oh, good. There will be more. Just wait till you hear how I get to Chicago next week. Then I leave Boston. I go to Chicago. I have my meeting. I fly back to Boston. I sleep at a hotel at the airport, and then I go down to Virginia early the next day, because that was the best and most economical way to do it. She says, Maggie says, after watching your show on rug hooking, which I've never done, I started watching rug hooking videos. Oh, good. And she says, I bought a pattern on monk's cloth. Excellent. Attached is what it will look like. And she says, do you have a preference as to using wool strips versus rug yarn? And is one better than the other, she asks. I think I'm going to try yarn first. It's a primitive small wall hanging. And she says, your little doll is looking great, from Maggie. Oh, I love that. Well, thank you, Maggie. And to answer your question, I have only used slit wool strips, but I'd love to hear how you like the yarn. I've definitely done the Russian punch needle. Jean actually turned me onto that several years ago. And that's more like yarn because you're using actually the dyed floss and you're punching it from the back. Both are, oh, I should show people. Oh, I did it again. So the key is when I twist it, I can't tap it. Either one is great. I can't wait to see it. I'm going to go back down to Grace's and see. Ah, it worked. Okay. This is Grace's Farmer's Wife quilt, all done. And this is the first picture. Isn't that amazing? And then she sent us pictures of the quilting, including the back. That is really nice, Grace. It's beautiful. And now if I go back to Maggie, let's look at her Okay. Her first rug hooking. I really like that pattern. That will be very satisfying too, because it's not too big and the colors are, it won't take too long to overthink the color planning. And you'll notice that this example that you've got, see the modeling in the colors, like the blue and the brown? That is because of the fabric that was used. This looks like it is fabric, not yarn. And the fabric was dyed and modeled before it was even slit. So if you want the same kind of movement in yours, whether it's yarn or whether it's wool, try to get it that's been hand dyed if you can, just for little pieces. You don't have to do all of it hand dyed because it'll give it more movement if you like that. If you don't want that, then go with something that comes off the brack, off the bolt, and you'll get a very flat look, and sometimes that's just what you want. I like that a lot. Oh, I'm glad. Man, we started out quilting, but now we have rug hookers. I want to see some dolls. Oh, we have dolls. Colleen's made dolls, and we've seen Sandra's dolls from several months back. Oh, Marquet is out there. Hi, Marquet. Marquet is trimming papers. She says hello to Lynn and the FiberCasters. And Marquet, I'm really glad we got this before the night was over, didn't we? It's so funny. Marquet and I, every week, she'll send something from Kentucky, and sure enough, it will arrive in my mailbox like at 9:03 or 9:04. And I'll be downstairs decompressing, and I go and I see who's written in, if anyone else has written in, and there's Marquet's note. So I'm glad you've written in. I'm going to read this, and I may even go back and find some of the other notes that I want to share with people. Anywho, Marquet says she hopes everyone's having a great Friday night. As for what she's working on tonight, she went to town and had 40 pages, each printed out at the library, of a square and square blocks. Oh, and wild and goosey blocks. So I'm sitting here trimming pages so I can sew on them later tonight. I love those blocks. Love those. She says, also, Kenny got me a new leather computer sewing chair today for my early birthday present. My birthday is the 26th, and I'm sitting in comfort. Oh, that's great. She says, here are 2 pictures at the bottom. Oh, good. We're going to get to see it. Have a great weekend, she says. I have enjoyed listening to your stories and love the quilt. Aw, hope this arrives in time. Poor little Allie missed her family. She is so cute. I think she really did. She really was acting out. She missed Bob, let's be honest. Bob is the one who really takes care of her. Bob takes care of all of us. And she says, here is a list of the cast of Blood and Oil. She says, and I cannot wait to see this. Dawn Johnson is Hat Briggs. By the way, they were filming a wedding. So as you watch it, watch for this big, opulent, beautiful place, the Grand American Hotel, and outside where they had the wedding scene, there were the most amazing gardens, and they were raised up, so they were right at your height, maybe your chest level, and the flowers were beautiful, from dahlias to begonias to roses, all in full bloom in October in Salt Lake City. And there was boxwood around. It was stunning. So look for that. Okay, so Don Johnson, that's my generation. He's Hat Bridges. Chase Crawford, I was right, is Billy LaFavor. Rebecca Rittenhouse is in this. Scott Michael Foster. Amber Valletta. India de Beaufort, and Delroy Lindo. Oh, I love your chair. That is going to make it so much nicer to do your work. Marquet, happy birthday on the 26th. And then here are the papers that Marquet is cutting out, and those will be her foundation papers. We made the Wild and Goosey blocks here on a FiberCast many months ago. And I'm not sure, I've never done the square and the square, but of course it's a very common one and I love it. And it looks like they're small. Those are going to be great. I love doing those. Oh. Oh, and Colleen. Hi, Colleen. Oh, my goodness. She says, here on the dry left coast. Oh, it is dry out there, isn't it? She says, I'm looking forward to seeing you tonight. I truly enjoy your creative activities. Oh, thank you. I don't know how you are able to do this with all your travel and the usual duties of wife, doggy mom, homeowner, etc., but I am so glad you do. Colleen. Well, thank you, Colleen. This is as much therapy for me as anything else. So, and I certainly would not get this done without you guys all being out there. So, we have 3 minutes left, and I'm going to start doing my other doll here because I want to show you how I'm going to do Mod Podge. So this, you may recall, is the doll head that we started to make a few weeks ago in preparation for the face painting class that we took with Al at Textile Tarts. And I made this face purposefully cocked to one side, and I made it keeping in mind a picture of my sister when she was, oh, let me get this. She was dressed up for Halloween, either last year or the year before, as a witch. And I think it's just a beautiful picture of her and of it. So this is my guide for this head. So now we're going to put on hair, black and green glowing hair. And then I'm going to cut up an old pocketbook that I saved that's falling apart, so I couldn't use it anymore, and I'm going to try and make a witch's hat. And all of this is then going to somehow, I hope, be mounted on this long, thin board so that it can be just kind of an unusual pin cushion. Maybe it has walnut shells in it, so it could be a pin cushion, or maybe it's just a silly little doll head. I don't know. Anywho, what I did before everyone came on is I put wrap around her head, saran wrap, and I have painted a couple of coats of Mod Podge right on the saran wrap to make a cap. And Sarah, once again, taught me this several months ago, and that cap is what I'm going to adhere the hair to now with more Mod Podge, which acts like glue, and then I'm going to let it all dry, and then I can pull it off. So if I don't like it, I can start over. It's a way to really practice and actually get a much better, after we're done, then I take it off and I'll trim off all of the saran wrap and then glue it back on her head. And it's just a way to get it's another way to do doll hair. And I haven't told you many don'ts. I'm just thinking I'm supposed to give you doll do's and don'ts. And I don't have many don'ts yet because I haven't been doing this for that long. So I'm sure in the process of doing this I have done don'ts, but I don't know that. Anywho, what I did was I'm going to use just acrylic black yarn, Red Heart black yarn, and I cut some threads off, strands off about like that, and I literally took them apart. It's a 4-ply, so I took apart all 4 plies. And now I have a bunch of them. And all I'm going to do is literally start from the back of the bottom and start adhering them with the glue onto my cap. And that's all there is to it. So I'm going to do a couple just to show you. Use an old crummy brush. This is not where you want to use your sable brush. Now, I've seen people use toothpicks and use one toothpick, then throw it out, use another toothpick. I may have to do that. And the reason for that is when you go back and touch, well, I guess that's going to work. I thought it might tend to pull off the other hair. So literally, what I'm going to do is slowly go up and around her head, the crown of her head, with these little hair. I'm going to go up, up, up. Just keep putting it on. And then the one other thing I wanted to show you, I'm not going to do it all now because we're at the end of our hour, is I have some flax. And I have used a highlighter to turn it kind of this green. And I'm thinking that if we put a little bit of that in under her hat, near the black here and near the black of her hat, hopefully, who knows, we may need to get more green, but we'll get closer to that look. So that's another hair. I think I heard one more ding, and then I think it's time to call this a wrap. Karen says, oh, for goodness sake, because she saw her picture. And then I did see one other question. Are you doing a mystery quilt this year? And I will close on that. I'm so glad you asked. Yes, I'm doing a mystery quilt. I've got it designed, and it's actually called the Ooh Baby Baby Mystery Quilt. And it's going to be a baby quilt. You can do it in either a boy or a girl colorway or a multi-sex, unisex, any color you want. We're going to start it on January. I wrote down the dates actually. January 15th through February 19th. So get ready, same drill. Every Friday I'm going to give clues. This time I'm going to have everyone cut out all of their fabric on the first day. And this one's a little less scrappy, and it's smaller because it's for a baby, and I think you're going to have fun with it. So yes, to a mystery quilt. And with that, I think we've done a lot in 60 minutes. I want to thank you all for joining me. Thank you for your emails. Love getting caught up. I'm going to leave you with this M&M bag that's just remarkable. Thank you to Jean, and thank you to everyone for joining, and we'll see you next Friday night. There will be an episode on there. Watch me, and I'll be back in touch the following week or the following week after. Anyway, keep creating. Bye, everyone.